Hi, I'm Dale of the Knit1T2 podcast, and welcome to my travel video where we travel from Rhode Island to Texas. We flew out of TF Green Airport in Rhode Island, and the faucet in the bathroom was fascinating to me. One of the spouts was for air to dry your hands, and one was for water, and I couldn't figure it out for a while. Did a little knitting to calm my nerves before we boarded the plane in the morning. Our flight was at 5:55 a.m. We flew Southwest, and overall we were very satisfied with that airline. We flew into Baltimore, where we had a layover. I believe it was like 2-hour layover. We found some food. We found this coffee and bagel shop, and I was able to get an egg and some bacon to put on my tortilla. I am knitting here. I did a time lapse of my knitting while we waited after we ate lunch before we boarded the next plane. And then I was able to knit a little bit while we waited while the rest of the passengers boarded. Here's some views as we're flying into Houston. And of course, it was snack time. So I had some chips and a chopstick. It's amazing. The clouds were so amazing to me. They just looked so fluffy. And then as we got a little bit closer, we were able to see some land there, and it was very awesome. The airport and hobby in Houston had awesome architecture. And then we were happy to see this sign as we went to pick up our baggage. And when we walked outside, I thought this sign was awesome. I don't know if the plans were real or not, but I just thought it was cool. We got to our Airbnb, and this was the room that we stayed in. It was a 4-bedroom house, but this was our room. It was decorated really nice. It was a really nice house that we stayed in Pasadena. And the living room here and the painting on the wall, I just thought it was very peaceful. And then they had a bunch of plants. I actually want to do something like that in my house. And the dining room here with another beautiful painting. I didn't get a picture of the kitchen or the bathroom. This was the next day, breakfast. And of course, we visited Walmart. This was actually the second time we visited Walmart for food. This was lunch before we got ready for the wedding. And my hair that I did for the wedding. I did some knitting while I waited for everyone else to get ready because I was the first one ready to go. And then here is my husband and I. We dress up pretty nice. We went to take pictures at some different spots in Houston, and I don't know exactly where it was, but there was that fountain and then these structures here. And of course, I had to take the opportunity to take a baby bump picture while I was dressed nicely. This was the water wall. I put the name of it on the bottom of the screen on that first picture. It was awesome. I absolutely loved it. Once again, had to take another picture. It was a really cool place. This is another picture on the other side of the wall. You could walk around on both sides. I thought the sound was amazing, and it was just so peaceful. Then this building was opposite of the wall, and it's just so incredibly tall. I'm not a city girl, so it's just crazy to me how tall the buildings are. We stopped at Buc-ee's gas station, which I think is a famous gas station in Texas. And they had wonderful paintings on the way to the bathroom. So, of course, I had to take a picture of them. And the cows were my favorite. And then I have a picture of Dan and my corsage. And I took other pictures of the wedding, but I'm not sharing them here for privacy reasons. The next day, we took a trip to a family member's house. And we saw the city skyline there. They had a nest of baby birds. They had cows, which of course I love any kind of animals. We got to see cows. They had chickens as well. Really peaceful pond. They had a big piece of land, and it was great to just explore it. The dogs loved being in the pond. It was hot. It was like 97 degrees, I believe. And just like that, it was Tuesday and time to go home. We left, oh goodness, I think we left our Airbnb at like 6 a.m., 5:30 a.m. We got to Hobby Airport to fly out. Once again, they have such beautiful artwork in the airport. So this mural here, and then walking towards the gate, they had more of these really pretty stained glass paintings. And then I filled my water bottle, and then after I took this video, I realized the filter was flashing red. And then even when I filled it up from a different station, the water was warm, so I didn't end up drinking it. I did spend some time knitting and took some knitting progress picture here. It was really cool. We actually got a seat because we were so early to be able to wait to watch our plane fly in. And then I realized I broke one of my knitting needles. I don't know how it happened, maybe when I shoved it in my bag. And finally, the plane that we would be boarding showed up. It's pretty fascinating to me how the whole process works. I did not love flying. I don't know if it's just because I'm pregnant or what, but I definitely got motion sick. Didn't physically get sick, but almost a few times. But I just find the whole flying and airport business fascinating. You know, the plane comes in and you always wonder, like, when you land, like, why does it take so long to finally get off the plane? But, you know, there's a lot of moving parts. The guy at the bottom is like directing the plane to make sure that it's coming in correctly. And it really was fascinating to me to watch as it pulls up. And then it's just, I don't know. They have it down to a science, an art, whatever you want to call it. And it really takes a lot of different people to make the whole process go smoothly. So, you know, they put chucks on the wheels, and then I don't know what you call it. I called it a runway. The runway comes out and then attaches to the plane, and they open the door, and it's just, it really is crazy. And then all the different guys, maybe there were females as well, but driving those little carts to get the luggage and to refill the snack section of the plane, the drinks and everything. It really was just really fascinating to me. So I did take this pretty long segment of video here because it was just fascinating. So this was our 3-hour flight, and there was quite a bit of turbulence for the first, I'd say, half of the flight. So I tried to settle myself. I was very unsettled with a little bit of knitting. It didn't last very long. I tried to take a little nap. I did get some pictures. It was a pretty rough flight until I was able to rest for a little bit. Then we stopped back in Baltimore, and I was able to find some lunch, some Chipotle, which was delicious. Felt better after getting some food, and then was able to appreciate more of the artwork. I've never been so happy to see Providence, Rhode Island on a sign before, but then we got delayed, so I did some more airport knitting, and I was able to actually finish the foot of that sock before we took off. And Dan thought it was funny and tried to ruin my picture by putting his hand in it. So we were finally boarded. I think the whole delay was about an hour, but we finally boarded and were able to leave Baltimore. This was a quick flight here. It's about 58 minutes or so. So not bad. And I didn't get any other pictures. This is the last video on the plane here, because when we were landing, I was trying not to be sick and I cried every time we landed. I think it's just pregnancy hormones. Yeah, but as we got over Rhode Island, well, actually starting in New York, Connecticut, and Rhode Island, we were able to point out different landmarks, and it was really fascinating to see. If, like I said, I couldn't take any pictures because I was trying not to get sick, and I kept having to kind of look out a little bit and peek and then close my eyes. But it really is pretty cool to see the world from the air. So hopefully I can try flying again sometime when I am not pregnant and see if it goes a little more smoothly for me. But we did make it, and this trip was quick. We landed, and I was never so happy to see a Rhode Island sign and be back on solid ground in our home territory. There really is no place like home. Thank you for watching this video on our quick trip to Texas, and I hope to see you on my next podcast episode.